Hi, friend. This is Katerina Satori with another video to inspire all of us to go to a new levels of joy, new levels of liberation, and new levels of abundance. And this video is dedicated to two karmic themes that most of us will face at one point or another in our journey. And it's a karmic theme around abundance and a karmic theme about relationships. That's typically two challenges that we face when we are on the point, on the journey of soul awakening and soul empowerment, right? So some people will struggle with money, whether they struggle to earn it, they struggle to keep it, they struggle. And other people will struggle with relationships, right? Sometimes we struggle with both, and it's really intense. So I'd like to share with you how I see it from the level of the soul. Because when you're able to zoom out from intensity of your personal experience and see it from the level of your soul, you get a different perspective of why a particular theme keeps showing up on your path. It's not here to punish you, it's not here to make your life difficult. It's here to help you learn something, right? It's here to help you transform something in your ancestral lineage. Wow. Let me tell you first is I come from some dense ancestral lineage. My family, the one that I chose to incarnate, wow, it was no joke, right? We had addiction, we had violence, we had a lot of instability. It's just like the whole, the whole family was just filled with secrets and shame and unprocessed pain, right? And as a soul, you take on your family history. You're impacted by it, right? In the wisdom tradition, in a soul empowerment terms, we call it the karmic imprinting. And when you develop a level of awareness to recognize that, it can be really empowering because you begin to see that you can change that. You can write a new story, right? Sometimes, in other ways of presenting this topic, people talk about repeating our parents' blueprint. Well, the big insight I learned from Tony Robbins when I went to one of his events called Unleash the Power Within. And he says relationship with money is connected, or bad relationship with money is connected to your relationship with your father. Bad relationship with love, it points to something unhealed with your mother. Love relates to your mother wound. Money relates to your father wound. Whoa. Huge, right? Huge discovery. It's like somebody turned on the light in the dark room of my psyche that I couldn't figure out for a long time. So I began to dive into that, and I began to go in deeper and deeper and deeper. And I wanted to understand my relationship with my mother because I did not feel emotionally close to my mother. And I couldn't explain why. I just couldn't understand why I felt emotional distance with her until I started asking her questions. This was probably like 5 years ago when I was already my own grown up woman and I could speak to my mother with respect, but also with directness. And I started asking, Mom, I am going through deeper layers of my own healing. And I'd like to ask you some questions that may be challenging for you to access because it's from deep, deep past. But if you just tell me the facts of what really happened, this is going to help me heal. This is a very powerful frame to use with your parents when you're trying to understand what really happened when you were little, right? Without them clamming up, shutting down, and refusing to go into the past, because most likely they have been so traumatized by that experience and they did not have the tools to move through it like you do, right? So I always encourage high level sensitivity when you start having those conversations with your parents, if they're still alive and if they're open, right? Like I can't have that conversation with my dad, and I will get to it in a few minutes. But with my mom, there was this opening, and I put like my family detective hat, and I said, I'm gonna find out what really happened. So I said, Mom, what happened in the first year of my life? Because I knew the first year of a newborn is one of the most important year. 70% of karmic imprinting happens when you're just born and in the first year of your life, because what happens biologically, you bond to your mother, you create a sense of safety with your mother, or the lack of it. Well, what happened, my mom had to leave me at only 1 month old. So the crucial bonding between my mother and I could never happen, because she had to leave me with her mother, my grandmother, at only 1 month old. There were difficult circumstances in her life. Just imagine the level of challenge that my mom had to face to make that decision. And she had to go back and to take care of my older sister that was only 1 year old at that time. And she was the only provider. My dad went to jail at that time. It's a long story. I am telling you the story of my family. It's like a Russian soap opera, but in a more dramatic way, like a dramatic soap opera, right? So my dad was already in jail when I was not even a month old. And I'll tell you that story one time. But the crucial bonding between my mother and I never happened, biological. So I grew up imprinted with the wound of abandonment. Do you think that created difficulty in my romantic relationship? Yes. And you know how paralyzing it is to go through relationship after relationship, attracting the same scenario, feeling deep desire to be loved and to love, and being terrified of intimacy and sabotaging intimacy and creating blocks between me and my romantic partner. This is really intense stuff. And if you don't know from the level of the soul what is happening, it can be very depressing. The grace comes to us when we start asking questions, how can I turn this around? And you start picking up books and learning about attachment styles and abandonment wounds and how to heal your relationship patterns, right? So this video is being created for that reason. I desire to shed light on something that was really mysterious for a lot of times in my life, right? So when I relearned that my mom had to leave me behind with my grandmother at 1 month old, instantly, I felt a relief. I was like, Mom, thank you so much for telling me. It is because I could see that me feeling emotionally distant with my mom, it wasn't because I was a bad daughter and I didn't know how to love my mom. It wasn't because of that. It's because of a real fact that we had a missing biological bonding as an infant and a mother. And that created a karmic process, right? Wow. When I learned that, I just, I felt an opening in my heart. I felt a shift within, and I felt this genuine warmth towards my mother. It began to flow, like my connection with her began to flow again. Not because I would force it or fake it, but because it was a genuine opening that came from understanding of what really happened. This is the power of putting the pieces in your family history together. This is the power of understanding what really happened. And then I went deeper. I'm going to recommend to you a book. Every time you watch a video of mine, you will walk away with an epic book. I guarantee you. So, are you ready to write this down? An epic book for this video. It's called It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolymn. Oh, what a revolutionary book. I actually got a private session with Mark Wolymn. He is a thought leader in changing the energetics of our family history and transforming the impact of the family history on our personal destiny. It's a must read. And he gave me this practice that really helped me heal my heart and my relationship with my mother even deeper. And the process is you visualize the most benevolent aspect of your mother. If you had a difficult mother, like so many of us had difficult mothers, right? Or we had a difficult relationship with the mother we had, let's just phrase it that way. You can visualize in your imagination the most benevolent aspect of your mother. You can find something really, really good. And imagine that you can feel the connection between her heart and your heart. And you can visualize it as a silver thread or the golden thread. And imagine being nourished and loved by your mother. First, you start as a simple visualization. With practice, you begin to feel the healing. You begin to heal yourself. And if your mother is not in a physical body anymore, you can do it still with her spirit. This is the practice that can liberate you. This is a practice that can help you become more at ease with true intimacy. So you don't run when your true love shows up on your door. You don't self-sabotage it. You don't run from it. You're able to open your heart and to receive love from another person. So this is why it's so important to do that work now. So you don't sabotage the connection when it comes your way. Okay, this video is getting too long. I'm going to do another video that I'm going to call the father wound. And we're going to dive into the connection between money and your father wound. Did you find this video helpful? Please let me know in the comments. What are you going to take away from? As always, I put the description and the book mentioned in the description of the video. But it's been really in my heart to give a voice to this topic because it's something that every human being will encounter. We, of course, can run away from facing this topic, but then we create a life of misery and a life of loneliness and a life of unfulfilling romantic relationships. The number one challenge that we are being faced in the society right now is isolation and loneliness. And so many people desire companionship, they desire true love, but they have these invisible traumas and invisible blocks to love that they can't see. So my intention behind this video is to help more people to realize that they can transform these blocks. And it starts with looking into a relationship with our mother and doing this courageous work. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Whew.